the record that almost never happened. Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak hits 2,130 games and becomes the most famous record in baseball. But what nobody knows is that it almost ended 3 different times before it ever got close to being legendary. Each time, a split-second decision, a hidden injury, or a moment of pure stubbornness saved what would become the most untouchable record in sports history. These are the secret stories of how the Iron Horse's greatest achievement nearly died before it was ever born. New York City, July 4th, 1925. Yankee Stadium. Lou Gehrig is 22 years old, and nobody cares about consecutive games. The concept doesn't even exist yet in the public consciousness. Players get hurt, they sit out, they come back when they feel better. That's just how baseball works. Lou's a backup first baseman, who sometimes plays when Wally Pipp needs a rest. Today is different. Pipp woke up with a headache, maybe from getting hit by a pitch yesterday, maybe from staying out too late at a speakeasy, maybe from the pressure of losing his starting job to a kid who hits the ball harder than anyone in the league. Manager Miller Huggins tells Lou he's starting. Lou doesn't know this is game number 1 of something that will define his entire career. Doesn't know that this random Tuesday in July will be remembered as the beginning of the most famous streak in sports history. He just knows he gets to play baseball today. But the streak that would make him famous almost never starts. 3 hours before first pitch, Lou is warming up in the batting cage when a foul ball off his own bat ricochets off the metal framework and smashes directly into his left hand. The sound of bat meeting bone echoes through the empty stadium like a gunshot. The pain shoots up his arm like lightning, immediate and overwhelming. His fingers immediately start swelling, the knuckles already turning an ugly purple color. The team trainer, Doc Woods, takes one look at the rapidly swelling hand and shakes his head with the authority of someone who's seen hundreds of baseball injuries. "That might be broken, kid. Definitely looks broken. We should get it x-rayed right away. You're probably looking at 6 weeks on the shelf, maybe more if it's a bad break." Lou stares at his hand, already turning purple around the knuckles and beginning to swell to twice its normal size. A broken bone means weeks on the bench, weeks of watching other players take advantage of the opportunity he's finally earned. Means losing his chance to show what he can do, to prove he belongs in the major leagues, to justify the faith the Yankees showed when they signed him out of Columbia University. Means going back to being nobody special, just another prospect who couldn't stay healthy when opportunity knocked loudest. "It's not broken," Lou says, flexing his fingers despite the agony. "Just jammed. I can play." The trainer isn't convinced. "Lou, if that's fractured and you play on it, you could do permanent damage. Your career could be over before it starts." Lou wraps his hand in tape, puts on his glove, catches a few throws. The pain is incredible, but the hand functions. He can grip a bat. He can field ground balls. It hurts like hell, but he can do it. "I'm playing," he tells Huggins. "Whatever's wrong with it, it'll heal. Missing games won't." Huggins studies Lou's face, sees something he likes. Determination. Stubbornness. The kind of attitude that wins pennants. "Okay, kid, but if you can't swing the bat properly, you're coming out." Lou plays the entire game with what doctors later confirm is a hairline fracture in his left hand. He gets 2 hits, drives in a run, makes every defensive play cleanly. After the game, he soaks his hand in ice and tells nobody about the injury. The next day, he plays again and again. For 6 weeks, Lou Gehrig plays professional baseball with a broken hand, establishing the foundation of an attitude that will carry him through 2,130 consecutive games. But the real test comes later, when the streak means something and the stakes are higher. Philadelphia, August 22nd, 1928. Shebrew Park. Lou Gehrig has played 1,103 consecutive games over 3 full seasons and part of a 4th. The streak is starting to get serious attention from sports writers who are realizing this young first baseman hasn't missed a single game in over 3 years. Hasn't even missed an inning, except for the occasional late-game substitution when the Yankees are winning by 10 runs. Lou is becoming known as the Iron Horse, though he doesn't think much about the nickname and certainly doesn't think of himself as iron. He just shows up and plays baseball the way other people show up for work. the way he's always done since that first day when Wally Pipp had a headache. Today, the streak faces its first real test from something completely outside baseball. Lou's father, Henrik Gehrig, suffered a massive heart attack this morning at their modest home in the Bronx while getting ready for another day of construction work. The doctors at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital don't think he'll live through the night. His heart is too damaged, they say, too weak to keep pumping blood through his hard-working body. Eleanor, not yet his wife, but already the most important person in his life besides his parents, calls the hotel in Philadelphia at 6 a.m. with the devastating news. Her voice is steady, but Lou can hear the tears underneath the words. Lou sits on the edge of his hotel bed, still holding the phone, processing what Eleanor just told him. His father, the man who immigrated from Germany with nothing, who worked construction jobs to put food on the table, who sacrificed everything so Lou could play baseball instead of working in a factory, is dying. And Lou is 100 miles away, getting ready to play a game. The choice is obvious. Family comes first. Always. Lou starts packing his bag, planning to catch the first train back to New York, to be with his father in what might be his final hours. The consecutive game streak, it doesn't matter. It's just a number. His father matters. But then Eleanor says something that changes everything. Lou, your father made me promise to tell you something. He said, if anything happened to him during the season, you're not allowed to come home. He said you're living his dream, and he won't let his dying interrupt that dream. He made me swear I'd tell you to play today. Lou stops packing. Eleanor, I can't play baseball while my father is dying. He said you have to. He said he didn't sacrifice everything just to watch you give up when things get hard. He said playing today honors him more than sitting by his bedside. Lou doesn't know what to do. Every instinct tells him to go home, to be with family, to forget about baseball when something this important is happening. But he also knows his father. Rich Gehrig is the most stubborn man alive, and when he makes a decision, arguing with him is impossible, even when he's unconscious in a hospital bed. Lou makes the hardest decision of his career. He stays in Philadelphia. He plays the game. He goes 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and helps the Yankees win 8-3. After the game, he calls the hospital. His father is still alive, still fighting, still too stubborn to die while his son is playing baseball. Henrik Gehrig lives for 6 more years. He never misses a Yankees home game, and he never lets Lou forget that putting the team first was the right choice. You almost broke the streak for me, he tells Lou every time they argue about something. Thank God your mother raised you smarter than that. But the closest call comes when the streak is already famous, when ending it would disappoint not just Lou but millions of fans who have come to depend on his reliability. Cleveland, June 15, 1934, League Park. Lou Gehrig has played 1,854 consecutive games across 9 seasons. The streak is now part of his identity, part of what makes him special in a sport full of incredible athletes who perform superhuman feats every day. Newspapers write feature stories about it, tracking the number like they track batting averages and home run totals. Fans have started counting along, keeping their own records, showing up at games partly to witness history in the making. Lou himself has started to care about it, though he'd never admit publicly that caring about personal records might matter as much as winning games for the team. But today, Yankees manager Joe McCarthy wants to bench Lou for the first time in anyone's memory. Not because Lou is hurt, not because he's struggling at the plate where he's hitting .363 with 35 RBIs already this season, but because McCarthy thinks Lou looks tired, worn down, operating on fumes. It's been a brutal road trip through the Midwest, playing in sweltering heat that turns ballparks into furnaces. And the Yankees are 12 games ahead in the standings with a lead so large they could probably coast to the pennant. McCarthy believes his star first baseman needs a day off before the accumulated fatigue affects not just his performance but his long-term health. Lou, you're sitting today, McCarthy says during the pregame meeting in the cramped visitors' clubhouse. We're playing the worst team in baseball, we're leading the division by a mile, and you look like you haven't slept properly in a week. Take a day. Rest those legs. Come back tomorrow, refreshed and ready to finish this season strong. The request makes perfect sense from a baseball standpoint. The Indians are terrible. The Yankees could win with their eyes closed, and Lou does look exhausted. He's been playing hurt for weeks, nursing a sore back and tired legs that he hasn't told anyone about because he never tells anyone about injuries. But Lou can't accept it. The streak isn't just about him anymore. It's bigger than personal achievement. It represents something people can count on in a world where very little is reliable. In 1934, America is still struggling through the Great Depression. People are out of work, families are losing their homes. Hope is a luxury many can't afford. But every day, Lou Gehrig shows up and plays baseball. Every day, he's there. Dependable. Consistent. Iron. Skip, I appreciate the thought, but I'm playing today. McCarthy shakes his head. Lou, this isn't a request. I'm telling you, you're sitting. One day off isn't going to kill your streak. Yes, it is. The moment I sit out a game because I'm tired, the streak means nothing. If I can walk to the plate, I can play. I can walk to the plate today. You can barely stand up straight. I'll stand up straighter during the game. McCarthy realizes he's dealing with something bigger than baseball logic. This isn't about one game or one day of rest. This is about a principle that Lou has built his entire identity around. Breaking the streak voluntarily, for any reason short of serious injury, would violate something fundamental about who Lou Gehrig is. Fine. But if you look like you're going to collapse, I'm pulling you mid-game. Fair enough. Lou plays the entire game. He goes 2 for 4, drives in 3 runs, and makes a spectacular diving catch that saves 2 runs. After the game, McCarthy pulls him aside. How do you do that? How do you play your best when you're at your worst? Lou thinks about the question seriously. Skip. Playing hurt is easier than sitting healthy. When you're hurt, you have to focus on every movement, every swing, every step. You can't coast. You can't assume your body will do what you want it to do. So you have to be better, not just different. McCarthy shakes his head in amazement. You realize this streak is going to make you famous, right? People are going to remember you for showing up more than they remember you for how well you played. That doesn't sound like such a bad legacy. 3 other times over the next 5 years, circumstances conspire to end Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak. A severe flu in 1936 that leaves him too weak to stand, but he plays anyway, going 0 for 4, but fielding flawlessly. A family emergency in 1937 that requires him to leave the stadium between games of a doubleheader, but he returns in time for the second game. A beating in 1938 that gives him a concussion, but he convinces the team doctor that his vision is fine by memorizing the eye chart. Each time, Lou finds a way to play. Not because he's physically superhuman, but because he's mentally committed to an idea bigger than comfort or convenience. The streak becomes his statement about what it means to be reliable, what it means to honor commitments, what it means to show up when people are counting on you. When the streak finally ends at 2,130 games on May 2, 1939, it's not because Lou chooses to sit, it's because ALS has made it physically impossible for him to help his team win games. Even then, Lou agonizes over the decision for weeks, trying to find ways to contribute despite his deteriorating condition. The record stands for 56 years until Cal Ripken Jr. breaks it in 1995. Ripken, who grew up hearing stories about Lou Gehrig's reliability, approaches the record with the same philosophy. If you can walk to the plate, you can play. But the real legacy isn't the number of games or the years the record stood. The real legacy is the attitude it represents. Lou Gehrig's consecutive game streak almost ended 3 times because of injury, family crisis, and managerial decision. Each time, Lou chose to play not because he had to, but because he believed showing up was more important than feeling perfect. In a world where commitment is often conditional, where people quit when things get difficult, where reliability is rare, Lou Gehrig's streak represents an old-fashioned idea that some promises are worth keeping, even when keeping them is hard. The record that almost never happened became the most famous achievement in sports history, not because it was easy, but because it wasn't. Every game represented a choice, and for 2,130 straight times, Lou Gehrig chose to show up. Who in your life can count on you to be there? What commitments are you keeping, even when keeping them is difficult? Because sometimes the most important records aren't the ones that make you famous, but the ones that prove you're reliable when reliability matters most.